Okay, yeah. So we are now going to be looking at Power BI. Like I said, I took it to you a bit of introduction last week, and I've been able to, if you have a look here, where's that? If you have a look here, you can see I am logged in into my Power BI. And like I said last week, you have to log in with your a work or school email, not Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail. Okay. And once I create the report in here or the dashboard, as the case may be, the next thing I will do to share this report so that I can have bigger audience to consume this report is for me to publish it to Power BI service. Last week I was not able to show you my Power BI service because I couldn't log in, but I've been able to. So I'm not sure if you're seeing my screen now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah. So this is my Power BI service, and you can see I logged in into it. And you see here it says app.powerbi.com. That is the URL for Power BI service. And here you have the home. I can create a new report, which is the new feature of Power BI Microsoft is bringing into Power BI. Create a new report. I can browse my folder, and then there's one lake hub, which is a new thing which is also coming through. And then you can have apps for your reports as well. You can turn them into apps that for mobile applications. And then you can have your metrics, which is you having like an event or to see benchmark, and you can measure against one thing or the other. And then here you can also use this for monitoring, which is you have live streaming, for example. You can use that to and then here learn. You can click on this, and then you can take you to some learning materials. And then you also have the live stream hub here if you want to create your live stream. And then you have your workspaces. This is a pro license workspace. I don't have access to it right now. I used to, no, okay, I still have 20 days left. So I can, but I don't have anything in my workspace right now. Okay, and this is just the things which I have published into Power BI before previously. And then I have my workspace, which is what you will have as a free license user. Okay, and this is where I publish my report. But then the downside to this is that you cannot share this with other people like you will be able to do if you were to publish into this workspace. Okay, and in organizations you can have so many different workspaces. So one workspace for finance, one space workspace for the marketing team, one workspace for the CRM team, and all that stuff like that. So can have all those. And then once you publish your report into Power BI, sorry, Power BI service, then it can be consumed like I have in here. So like which one of them I want to share? Look, it's one of my reports. Okay, there's no connection, but I can still use it. So I click on this, and you can see the semantic layer of that my report. I publish all this, which is the same thing we are doing now, which is Power BI. The what's it called now? Employee Northwind database. Okay, so it's telling me what I have. It's who published it and all the stuff like that. I don't think I have any reports. Yeah, I have deleted the report which I had here before. Okay, if I go back to my workspace, let me see if I have any report. Okay, yeah, this Northwind, I have a report for it. And if I click on it, open report, and then this is my report which I've created, right? And we're going to try to rebuild this report again today. So I want to run quickly. Any questions on this one before I move on? Okay. You see all the data which we have been working on. This is
Yeah,
now
sorry.
with.
Sorry, I raised my hand.
Okay. Sorry, just speak up because I don't have time to look at the chat. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
just what I wanted to confirm is that you said we have to use a work email to log into this. What happens because I personally, I'm using my personal laptop to do this. I don't use a work laptop.
What I mean by it, I don't mean where you're working email. It just that's the way Microsoft call it. It has
Okay,
to be a domain email.
okay,
A domain email. It might be your own business, which you are hosting on a server, right? Which you
okay,
have email for. The email cannot be the email to use for Power BI registration cannot be a Yahoo email, cannot be Gmail, cannot be Hotmail. It can only be like in my case, I have a company name which is called VineEdge. So it has to be like my own is Ian Kabalogun or no, I think ybalogun at vineedge.com. That's sort of a name.
okay,
Okay. You cannot use Hotmail. So that's what I mean by work email. Okay.
okay.
All right.
So apparently, if we don't have a work email, we can't have access it, even if we are not doing it for publishing.
Yes, you have to. For you to be able to have, you can access Power BI Desktop. You can do that. You don't need to log in into Power BI Desktop to do anything, right? You don't need email. You can. It's optional there. But if you want to create your Power BI project and Power BI Desktop project and publish it to Power BI Service like I have done here, then you have to register with a email like I've explained earlier. Okay, so you can create your Power BI desktop and use it and consume it. That's okay, no problems. But publishing it is just where you have that limitation. Okay.
But the problem is that if you use a Power BI desktop without going through this process you have explained, then there are some features you will not have access to
No,
because
this features is just for you to for larger consumption. Your work is done in your Power BI desktop.
okay.
Everything you are seeing here is done in Power BI desktop. It's not here. I didn't do it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Power BI desktop is your developmental tool. Okay, for Power BI visualization. That is where you develop. And now, if you want to now distribute it to wider audience, more than one, then you need to publish the Power BI desktop service, and your Power BI service, for you to distribute it to more than one person, then it has to be on a pro license at the least. But if it is just you that will be consuming it, then Power BI free license is okay. Like mine is just me. So if I want to share this with anybody, well, some organization does this, which what they do is they create an email because they don't want to pay the premium as well, and there's no security required that this person cannot see this data or that person can see this data. What they do is they just have one email address. They use that email address to publish, and then they give the email address and the password to everybody, so you log in and then you can see it. So meaning that you're all logging in as one person. Okay. All right. So let's go to creating our Power BI from Power BI Desktop right now. Yeah, Power BI Desktop. I want to bring in data now into here. And the way to do that is, first of all, I want to connect this Power BI Desktop is just my developmental tool. And there's still another tool that is plugged in behind Power BI Desktop. And that is that is the tool that we use to ingest data into Power BI. And this tool is called Power Query Editor. Okay. So if I click in here, a lot of people you can come from here and you can go from here, but for me, I prefer to go from this transform because this is where it actually opens up what I want and I have that flexibility because I want to do a bit of modeling in my data before I bring it into Power BI Desktop. So click on transform data and then it opens up a new window. And you can see here at the top, it says Power Query Editor. So this is a new tool that is plugging behind Power BI, the Power BI Desktop we have. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if, okay, I don't have any recent connection. Here you can see all what I can do. I can do sorting. I can do column split. I can do transformation. I can combine.
Sorry, please, I have a question.
Yes.
So in a case where you want to connect your SQL to your Power BI, how do you go about it?
That is what I'm going. That's what I'm going about.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then you can see here, you can even link up to AI Insight. So you can build AI Insight as well, machine learning. And you can see this building my query and managing parameters and all the stuff like that, which I'm not going to go into today. Okay, so for today, right now, I'm going to start with going into my data source. I need a new data source. I want to connect to my SQL server. So if I click on this, you can see what we saw earlier. You can see, I can see all the different data sources I can connect to, all the different data sources. And it is still growing. Oh God, there's something which I missed. And I was thinking I was going to be able to find it. Oh, sugar. Okay, I'll have to come back and look for it. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be using SQL Server. You can see here, we have my SQL, you have different types. So sometimes it's just always good to go about to just click on categorization of the different data sources, and then I click on databases. It filters out for me, so I can quickly look for what my data source, SQL Server database. You can see there is another SQL Server analysis services is different. This is a different one. Okay, so don't use this if you do not already have what is called a cube, your analysis services cube. Okay. So I click on SQL Server database and I click on connect. Now it's going to prompt me for the name of my server and the name of my database, which is optional. So just to show you how to quickly get the name of your server, if you come back to your database like this, your server like this, right click on this, click on properties. It opens up this window and that's the name of my server. And I just copy this one. I copy that, cancel that so I can minimize, and I know my database is not wind. Okay, so I come in and I paste that in here. And then where I have the name, database name, I put in not wind. Okay, now you have two connection mode. Okay, says you have the import load and you have the direct query. Let me take a bit of time to explain. The import load is, if I select the import load, which is what I'm going to select anyway, is I'm going to be taking a copy of my data from my server or for whatever it is, even it could be Excel spreadsheet or whatever. I'm going to be taking a copy of that data and putting it into Power BI storage in the cloud. Excuse me, can you please mute yourself? So it's going to take a copy of that data and put it into the Power BI storage in the cloud, which is called the blob storage. Okay. And that data is now there and you can easily manipulate that data and use it for your visualization. There's a limit to, for me, on a free license, I have a maximum storage capacity of 1 gig of data. For a pro license, you have 10 gig, and then from the premium license, you have 100 gig. Okay. Now, that 1 gig is not for it's per report, not the whole of my Power BI desktop of that Power BI service. It's per report. So one report cannot have the data size for me as on the freelancers cannot exceed 1 gig of data, 1 megabyte, 1 gig, or one that is 1,000 megabyte of data. Okay, because there are times when your report can have big volume of data, especially in organizations where they're generating huge volume of data, like the telecoms industry. They generate a lot of data, so that, and then also for those who does streaming as well, they generate a huge volume of data as well. So it's just per report. And then the direct query is this option is that you are not taking a copy of the data from your original source. You are only connecting Power BI to it, and then you can create your report. But there's a limitation to it. And the limitation is that you cannot create, there's a limit to the number of measures, which is the DAX calculation, which you create for your visualization, which we're going to be doing some of them. There is a limit to the DAX measures that you can create using direct query. And the reason is Microsoft expects you to have done all your calculation, all your transformation, all your measures and everything in your data, because Microsoft is not taking a copy of your data. It is only connecting to it, and you're only using Microsoft for the display of your data, which you should have already modeled in your database. But with import load, you are loading the data into the Microsoft Power BI environment, and then you can model it there, and you have a lot of flexibility there because the data is in situ on the Microsoft premise. Okay. And there's also the other one here, which you can also write SQL query, like we have all this query, and then you can paste your query in here, and it connects directly to it as well, and you can do your transformation as well. Okay. All right, and you can use this SQL query for both import and direct query. Okay, so here I will uncheck this. I don't want it to create relationship for me. I'm going to create my relationship myself, and I'll uncheck that. I'll click OK, and it's now connecting me to the server. I'm waiting for that. Okay, and you can see this is now my server. You can see it's connected to that server, right? And you can see what I have created. Okay, so I have my views, and you can see here, if I close this, sorry, it's just giving me back my views. If I had stored procedure or functions in here, it would have brought them also out, because you can bring in stored procedures, functions, and views into Power BI. Okay, I'm not sure what I called what did I call them? I think my views, I think, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where is employee first? Where is my customers? Excuse me. Let me just quickly go back to here. See what I have done. If I'm in the right one. Is it this one I used, or is it this one? One, two. No, not this one. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think it's this one. Okay, so I need to change my connection string. I have to drop that. It's on the SOM side. Okay, so I'm not going to be using this. I'll change that. So let me go through the steps again. Now, okay, still because I didn't save it, so it's good. I have SQL Server, and I still have that pasted here, and then I have the Northwind underscore SOM. Okay. So now I'm expecting, okay, here they are. So all I have to do is select this, click on that checkbox, I select that, select that, select that. Yes. Okay. All right. And I click on OK. And now he is going to, he's not loaded the data in now. He's just presenting me a copy of those data. And you can see here all the 4 tables. And if you come to my right here, I have the query settings. I have the property. It's giving me the name of that view, which I've loaded in, or I'm going to load in. It's not loaded it in. It's just giving me the metadata. And then it's giving me navigation, and then it's giving me the data source. The navigation is every step that I perform on this particular query or data set is going to record it. And I can always go back and forth the steps if I'm not happy with it, or I can reverse the step. So, but then if I click on source now, you see here at the top here, it is giving me that. It says equal, just like in Excel, when you want to write a command, it says equal source, and then the schema, which is this SOM, and then item is the name of the view, and it's telling me that it's data. Okay, that's the source, and this is the data that I have in that. But I'm not going to be using this full name, SOM view VW underscore shipper. I want to change it. So I have the opportunity here to rename my data set whichever way suits me. So in this case, I can either change it here by right clicking and then do a rename, or I can change it here on the right here. Okay, so for me, I just want to name it shippers with an S. So, and you will see straight away, and I click out of it, and you can see straight away it's made the change here for me. Okay. I come to this one as well. I can make the change here. So you just see product is going to be called product. And then I click on enter. And then the next one. And then I call it employees. And then I have my fact name as well. Fact sales. And then I have customers. There is one table that is missing, which I don't have here. So I quickly want to see if I'll find it. And that will be a final table to import. And this table, just for a bit of explanation on that, is the date table, right? You can see, and the reason why we need a separate date table is because, yes, in this fact table, I have the dates, right? But this date is just the date on its own. I can there is more properties or categorization to a date than we have here. So that is why I need the date table. And when I bring the date table in, you will see what I'm trying to say. Just give me 1 minute. I quickly want to see where I can find it. Okay, where is that? Okay. Sorry, just sorry, 1 minute, please. Resource. No, not this one. Not this one. Let's save this. Okay. I found it. Okay. So I'll bring this to your view. There's this script which has been created. I'm not the one who created it. There's this guy which is called, I think his name is Mark. He created this table, this script, and this is called an M code script. You don't have to memorize it. You just, I'll share this with you. So you need to just get a copy it, and we're going to be using it. So I've taken a copy of that script. Now I want to bring that data in. So what I need to do is go into a new source, and then I select a blank query. And once the blank query opens, this is my blank query. I'll go to advanced, click on advanced, and then this has been written in the right way. So I'll just copy and paste on this one. And this is it. So that's the script. And then I click on done. Now it's giving me, it's saying I should provide my start and my end date and my year start. Okay. In this case, my start date will be 1/1/1996, and my end date will be 31/12/1998. I know that. And my first month is January. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. And my first month is January, so I click on invoke. And he has created, you can see that script has now generated a date calendar for me. Okay. And you can see what we have in here. All right. Here now, you see it's called it because it's a function. It's called invoke, but I want to change the name. I will leave the name of that as that, but here I'm going to change it to dates. Okay. So once I'm happy with that, that's my date table. I can step out of it. Okay. And that's it back. Now I want to do a bit of manipulation here. There's some things that are not needed, that are needed. So we're going to do a bit of remove and add or generate here. So I know I have the date, I have the year, I have the quarter, okay, and I have the month of year, which is January, February. I don't need the month of year. I'm not going to be using it for anything. So for me, I need the day of the month. Not really. Okay, so in this case, the month of year, I'll right click and then I click on remove. Is remove that. And you look at it here in the source, it says source, and then the next thing it says remove columns, because I've just removed the column. If I want to return that column, I said, okay, I'm not happy. I can click cancel that, and it's going to return that column back here. Okay, so I remove that again. And here the date int, I don't need it. So I remove that also. And here, I have the full year name and I have the short version, but the short version is now come with the year, and I don't need the year. Okay, so what I'm going to do likely is either I make a copy or split this column, because I don't need I need the form and the short month name, but I don't need the year. Okay, so here I'm going to highlight it, and then I click on, you see transform data. No, it's not that. And then I see it says split column. I'm going to split it, and I'm going to split it by delimiter. You can split it by so many other things, but in this case, I'm going to split it by delimiter, and my delimiter in this case is going to be the space. So I click on that, and it comes up, it says already put it for me space, and I say yes, and that is it. So it's going to split it down. It will have January, and then we will split it January and 1996. You see, now I have January and I
Excuse me,
have
sir.
90. Yes.
So is it the script that you just showed us that generated all this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay. So I don't need this 1996. So what I come in and then I click on remove. And you can see it is recording all the steps that I'm taking in here now. It is recording that. So I have here now calendar. So I can rename this column as well. Okay. And I come in here, highlight it, and then click on rename. And I call it month short name. Okay.
Sorry, excuse, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just how do you decide what to remove? Is it based on the details of the problem you want to resolve, or
yes,
how
of
do you
course.
decide what you want to remove?
Yes, you have what you're working towards. You're not just building. I'm not just building. There must be a requirement which will come through from the business. I said, this is what we want.
Okay.
Okay. And then you as a developer, they will not tell you, oh, this is going to come, because this is your own space now.
Decision to make, yes.
Yeah, it's your decision to make. Okay.
Okay.
And then here, I know I will need to have the color. I know I have the quarter here, but I would like to have it as Q1, Q2, rather than just 1, 2. So in this case, this is also providing me. So I'm going to split this column as well. And then I split column, and then I use the limiter as well and space, and then it's going to split that into 2 for me. I don't need this anymore. It's my remove. And I rename this as well. I can even leave it as quarter, because this one is quarter of year, so I can leave it as quarter. Day of week, I don't need it. The date in numbers, I don't need it.
Sorry,
So,
boss. Please,
yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, the query that you just inserted now for the date can be used for every other project.
Yes, you can use it for anything.
Okay, all right.
It's a date script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you. Use a date script. You can use it for any other project. It's not I'm only, because date is date.
Yeah.
It's not project specific. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you will be the one to now specify which the day that you want for the start date and the end date, right?
Yeah, you will be. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That is why they put. That is why they put in those parameters there.
Okay.
Right?
Then my last question is, I understand that you'll be working with stakeholder, and in most cases they will not tell you what the KPI will be, and you have to decide on your own. So how do you decide?
No, they will tell you what you are not the one who knows the benchmark. They will tell you what the benchmark is.
Okay. So on that basis, how you will develop your Power BI, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, they should have given you a requirement.
Okay.
Either if there is a proper requirement document, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If there is a proper one, but if there is no proper one, they should actually communicate to you what they expect or what their requirements are in email or verbally. But most of the time, for me, when they do it verbally, I tell them, can you send it to me via email?
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but for some small company, I don't think they have this that document that you mentioned.
Yeah, if they don't have it, they'll send you email. There's always a requirement.
Okay.
I want this. You are not the one who needs it. They are the one who needs it. So they're coming to you for you to create it for them, what they need.
Okay.
You don't know what they're doing because that's not your business. They are the one who said, okay, yes, I want to see a report that will show me X, Y, Z. Okay. And they'll come to you and say, I need a report that will show me X, Y, Z.
Okay.
Okay.
But sorry, sometimes we are like small businesses where they want to service improvement, but they don't really know the problem they're having, and they want a business analyst to assess the requirement.
There must be a requirement.
Yeah, but you can discuss if a business analyst comes in to discuss business requirement and with the stakeholders and agree on the KPI, then you can work on
There's
the
no,
KPI.
don't use the word KPI.
Hmm.
KPI is another different thing completely. It's
Sorry,
not,
objectives I wanted to say, sorry.
yeah, because whatever it is, there is a problem. A business, no matter how small it is. Okay, like I have a friend who runs a fishing business. Okay, and he has just been supplying his customers, right, and putting everything in a spreadsheet. Okay, but now he needs something more robust for him, not just putting in a spreadsheet, for him to now be able to see which customer is still owing him, which customer, when was the last time he supplied this customer, and all the stuff like that. When is, to be able to do analysis, that is a requirement. He may not have a full understanding of what his requirements is, but you will start from something. That is why these days we go with agile methodology, right? And you begin to build piece by piece and joining them together, and then, oh, okay, yes, I think I want this. Yeah, yes, okay, now I've seen this. Okay, I want to see this. And sometimes what you do also is you develop what is called the proof of concept. Then seeing the proof of concept, then they will be able to will trigger an understanding in them, and they will say, okay, yes, if I can see this, okay, XYZ that I've been doing manually, can I get this as well? Is it possible? Okay, like now, I did something for the business. The requirement wasn't full, but yesterday we had another meeting, and I've already developed my proof of concept. I've given it to the stakeholder, and it's going to show the brokers. And he came back with a modified requirement based on when they have seen the proof of concept. They now actually turn on the light bulb in them, and then say, yes, okay, I want to see it this way, I want to see it that way, can you bring this XYZ for me as well? Is it possible? Okay, and there's sometimes when what the business actually want is not doable. Like in this case too, there's what they required, and I told them, sorry, I can't do it. It's not possible in Power BI. If we are to be the other reporting tool, yes, I can, but in Power BI, no, it's not possible. And then we found a way around it. Okay, there's always a way around something, right? And always bear in mind, there must be a requirement. You cannot just say you sit down and you want to develop something. What are you developing? You are not the one who is going to use it. It's the business. So they will be the one that will tell you what they want. It is not you telling them what they need. Yes, initially you may start by telling them what they need, right? By giving them a prototype, a proof of concept, then they go back and review it, and then say, you now turn on the light bulb in them and say, yes, okay, yes, if I see this, can I see this next to this? Can I see that next to that? Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. So week ending and all the stuff, all these ones, I don't need them. So, and also another thing which I can do is I can highlight columns that I don't need at once, and then I can delete them. So all these ones from here, press the shift button down, highlight the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. I don't even need this either. And then right click, and then you say remove columns. You see it's now changed. And then you see here it says remove other column. If I click on remove other column, it's going to remove every other column, columns except the ones I've highlighted. So be careful. Remove other columns is going to remove all the other columns except the ones that you highlighted. But the ones you highlighted is the ones you want to remove. Click on remove columns. And he has removed them. Okay?
Sir?
So I now have a streamlined date table now. Okay?
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you. From the applied steps, I just observed that those columns that were removed, they were not really named on that step.
Yeah,
So
we'll
how
just
would
tell
I
you the
know?
steps.
How would I know the columns that I've removed? Like if I want
If
to say,
you'll
okay.
go back in there and it will show you what you have removed.
Oh, okay. All right.
You go back. If I want to take this one out, I click on that, and then it would delete that, and then it will restore that step back.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I have done that. It's move everything. Now I have my complete data set for my model. But there's one other thing which I want to show us is to organize your data set as well, right? This is not compulsory, but it's good to have. So if I click on one of them, I click on this, and then it says here, move to group, and then I say new group, right? You see, I just highlighted one, move to group, and then new group. If there is already a group, it would list that group as well. So it's going to create it. And what I want to call it model. And you can put in the description if you want. And then I click OK. And you can see it's created that model. So all the one, because sometimes I may not, you can use a table to generate more than one table when you bring it back into Power BI. Like now, the date table which I have, I can have a physical date. I can have the normal physical calendar, and I can have a business physical calendar, which is quite different. In finance, especially, you have what is called the 445, and the 445 is, normally we have 4 weeks make 1 month, right? The 445 is that the first 4 weeks will make 1 month. The next 4 is going to be another month, but then the last is going to be a 5 week rather than 4 week month. So there's a way they calculate it, because if you look at it, if you break down the 52 weeks into 4444, sometimes there is not always full. So there's a way they've invented that they call it a 445. There's another calendar which I can't remember, but I think it's 4544 or something like that. They just move the numbers around, but you'll get to hear about them when you get into the industry. Okay, so now I want to move everything into my folder, into my model. I just highlight and then select the ones I want to move. And then I jump to this as well. And then I drag into here. And then you can see, this is the function. I'm not going to delete it. This is the function that generated my date table. So if I want to generate another date table which is different from this, I can come back in here and put in the start and the end date and the first month of start, and then it will generate another table for me, because this is a function. That is why it's going to remain here. It's not going to be loaded into my Power BI desktop. So these are the ones, the tables that's going into my Power BI desktop. And once I've finished with this, one other two things I want to show you before I go. Okay, you can also look at the data type of your column, and you can change it here before you move on. Okay, here I don't need to make any change. You can make changes to the name here as well. Like here it says contact name, title, contact title, and all the stuff like that. I can change it to whatever name I want for it as well. Okay. So in this case, I'm not changing anything. Here is what I need to look at. Here it is when you see at the on the column name, you see the symbol 1, 2, 3, meaning that this column is a numeric column. And if you see ABC, it means it's a string. And then if it's a date, you will see the calendar logo next to it. Okay. Now, when it is numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, it will not tell you if it's a string, if it's decimal, or if it's no, it will show you when it's decimal. Sorry, it will show you when it's decimal. But when it's whole number, it will not tell you if it's int or big int or tiny int. It will just show its numeric column. And if it's decimal, it will show you also that it's decimal here. You see here, it says 1 point. That is, this column is a decimal column. And the same thing here, because this is a currency column, that is why you see it. It's numeric, and that is the currency sign next to it as well. And yeah, okay. So these dates are right. The data types are also in line, so I don't need to make any change on this one. This is numeric, but let me look at the customer. Okay, this is also numeric here, which is good. And this is also numeric. Is it product ID here is numeric as well, so that's good. Yes, that is good. Shipper is numeric, I think is right. And then my date is going to be linking back to this. So I'm good now. Everything is okay. And then what I now need to do is to come to this here. It says close and apply. And then I say select. If I just want to apply all my changes, I click on apply. But if you close it without applying, what all the changes you have made is gone. You have to redo them. Okay. So in this case, I'm just doing, look, apply it and then at the same time close it and move the data. Now it's now going to be moving the data from Power BI, sorry, from Power Query Editor into Power BI Desktop. Okay, and now you see here is it's now loading the data into Power BI Desktop, and then you can see here it's now showing me that data is coming in on the right side here. It's showing me that data is coming in. Now it has taken the copy of our data from our Notwin database on my server, and it has pushed that data into the Power BI storage blob storage. Okay, so all the columns which I have, you can see them. Everything is come through for each column and everything. Now, the next thing for me to do is to come into the left side here. You see where my cursor is flashing. I have my report view. This is where I'm going to be creating my report. It said view visuals with your data, but I'm not doing that yet. I can also view my data. So click on that, and then it's going to show me my data. Click on each table, and it's going to display what you have in your table. Click on each table, you can see. Okay. Now, the next one, it says model view. I click on the model view. It is tried to, even because, and the reason why it's been able to do this for me is because why? I have the name of my foreign key, my primary key is named the same way as my foreign key in my fact table. So you can see it's generated that, but I'll show you how to create it if this doesn't apply normally when you load your data. And you can see, okay, you can see for my date, it is not, there's no relationship with any of the tables yet. We're going to be creating that shortly. And why I'm putting this to the top is that in DAX, the way DAX looks at data is that it looks at data as the one side filter to the many side. I'm going to explain that to you shortly as well. Now, you can see here, like I explained previously, I said you have dimensions and your fact, right? Our sales table is our fact table, and that's why I named it fact sales. And that is where all the numeric data, right? The data that actually represent this business, this is where they are stored. Okay. That is where they are stored. Okay. So a product.
How do you identify the facts table, sir?
I have told you, I've done that in the class previously. Your fact is where
No,
you store your. There's
here
no way to
you identified it
we
as sales.
We created it. We created it. You know, when we were creating this as view in the previous class.
Yeah, no, what I'm asking is that how to in case, because here it's clear that it's sales. In case we are working on other things.
You will, when we created it in your database, this is our database. We're just loading it into another tool. So you know your database. You created it in your database. So you will have identified, you will know what is your fact table, you know your dimensions table, your dimensions tables. Right? And like I said the other time, is your dimension is they are short tables, they are the categorization that qualifies your fact. If you say we have made sale, right? We have made a sale. What sales have you made? It is very vague. Oh, we have made a sale of Coca-Cola, 1 crate of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a product that you sell. So your Coca-Cola, and you can sell as many as possible Coca-Cola as much as you have in your store in a day or in a month or in a year. So in your facts table, your fact is where you always where you always record your transactions. Okay? Your fact is where it is your transaction, it's your business transaction. It is the bread and butter of your business. If you do not have, like this company, if they did not make any sales, they're not in business. Okay, and that's why it's called the fact. It is the fact that actually represents or portrays or gives an overview of the business. If an auditor wants to know what your business is doing, you say, give me your ledger. Your ledger is your fact. And what is the ledger? It's where you record your sales. Okay. And then who actually made this sale is your employee. Oh, where was the sales made? It is in a store or is it online? Okay. Who bought the product? It's a customer. So all these ones, they are the qualifier for your transactions. Okay. And then the date is that on what day was the sales made? Okay, what is the total sales that we made today? Which is part of what we're going to be writing DAX measure for. What is all the sales that we made today? So the day or the date is also a qualifier. You may or may not have a sale in a day. You may or may not sell a product in a day or even a month. But you cannot have a sale without a qualifier. The sale must have an object, which is either physical or virtual, which is a product. The sale must be carried out by a form of an entity. It could be human, it could be computer. Right? And that is going to be your the form might not be, okay, if it's human, that's an employee, but if it is computer, that is, well, it's not a physical, it's digital. Okay. And if they bought it online, that means depends on how the business operates as well. It could be at a store location, or it could be you are like Amazon now. Amazon do not have a physical store. They have warehouses. So the sale will be dispatched from the warehouse. The product order will be dispatched from the warehouse. And then you have, okay, how is it delivered? The delivery, like in case of Amazon, the delivery is even very varied. Well, you have the Microsoft, I'm sorry, I said Microsoft, Amazon drive delivery vans. You have the Amazon partner delivery van people. You have the one that they will go and put into the Amazon lockers. And there's another one where they will go and drop it at a location for you, a corner shop, and you go and pick it up from there. So all these things are categorized. They categorize the sale. Okay, and that where you now know is that you are going to be this business system will have where it is recording all these transactions. Like you go when you use your you have a bank account, right? Your bank account, you have a card, a debit card, right? When you go to you go to shop and you use your card to pay, it's recorded in your transaction that, okay, you have spent £10 at this store. If there is a refund, it is also going to be recorded there. And that is why you have your business system like in the Northwind, you have your tables and everything. You find out that in that business system, if I come back to it here, you look at it here. No, here. You look at it, this business system, you have your orders and your order details. This is where all the transactions are recorded. If you look at the employee table or the customer here, it's just giving you the names of the customers, the names where they are and everything. This does not tell you what all these customers have done. It's not telling you what the customers have done. All it's just telling you that these are our customers. This is where they live. This is their title. This is the contact number and all the stuff like that. But for you to see what these customers have, the transaction, how they have impacted your business, you have to go into what is called your orders table. And you now see here, you have the customer ID. This is to tell me that this customer, this is what this customer have done. This line is recorded for this customer on that day. And look at these ones here now. These three. Oh no, these two rather. These two transactions happen on the same day. The order date is the same day on the 7th of July. Sorry, on the 8th of July. Right? 1996. This is what the customer, but then it's not even telling me what this is, not telling me the freight the customer has paid. Okay, for me to now see what this customer has bought or what they bought that day, I'll go to the order details and look at it. It's now bringing me my order ID. So if I want to find these customers, this one, let's even do it. Okay, this one, I'll type in the two. So I want to see what those two customers have bought. Okay. And this is what those customers have bought. This is the product they've bought. You can see here now, it's giving me the unit price and it's giving me the quantity and it's giving me the discount, but it's not giving me the product name. So for me to know this product, I can also take these ones and I'll go to the products table to see what those products are. hope I'm right. Okay, and look at this. These are now the product. You can see. So for me to actually say, okay, this customer is me, I do not even know the name of the product. I only know the ID of the product. And for me to know what the name of the product is, I have to come to the product table, because that's where the real definition of that product is stored. The details of that product is stored. And I started from here. I started from the orders table. So you will always know in the database your transaction tables. Like my company where I work now, we have 2 transaction tables really. One is called the ledger, which is for everything, and then we have the transaction. The ledger records the high level, and the transaction gives me the breakdown of that ledger. Say, for example, in the ledger it says, oh, we have a premium of, because I work with an insurance company, we have a premium of £100. That £100 for this client, that £100 may be split into 2 or 3 different payments. But when I go into the transactions table with the ledger ID, I can trace it back and say, okay, this £100, that's the ledger ID. It will now give me the breakdown of that £100 based on that ledger ID. Okay, so anywhere you go to work, you will, as a data engineer or data analyst, you will have to study and know their database, how it works. Some companies, they have documentation for their database, their business systems. Some don't. Like where I'm working, we do not have it, unfortunately. And it's a very big database. Very, very big. 3 years plus there, I still don't know everything in that system. But one thing, as time went by, I began get more confident with it. We just start with the basic, which is, first of all, you look at where the transactions are stored, because everything that the business is doing is all about transactions. Any business is all about transactions. Where the transactions are stored, right? Okay, now, what is the relationship of this transaction, or how the other things that qualifies it now relate back to these transactions? And that is the essence of me now giving you all the keywords, the clauses in writing a query, because you join them together in and out, back and forth and stuff like that. You see all this select star, which I told you, it's just the basic building block. You will use those, like Lego, right? You see all those blocks. You will use it to build a mighty rocket. And you can use it also to build a small boat. Depends on the requirement. It's just you stitching them together. And that is why it is very important for you to have that basic understanding of your SQL. I'll be sharing with you a document on SQL and Power BI, which I found online, which I downloaded. I will share it with you. It will help you as well. Okay. Okay. Going back to Power BI. So now, our dimensions most of the time should be the one side of our relationship. Our dimension should be the one side of our relationship. So you say a product, right? I'm taking the product. A product can have one or many sales. A product can have one or many sales, but a sale can only be made or belongs to one and only one product, or no, one product. And then a customer can make one or many orders, but an order can only belong to one customer. 2 customers, one order cannot belong to 2 customers. If I go to Tesco and make a purchase now, that purchase belongs to me, cannot belong to two people. At the point of sale there. Though when I get home, that's what I bought cannot be for all of us in the house. But at that point of sale, it's for me and for me alone. And that's what the system recognizes. Okay? So that relationship. Now, to create a relationship, you see the line, it says the one here indicates that this is the one side, and the star here, we call this one star. The star here indicates that this is the many side. So there might be a product can have many sales. Okay, and a customer can make many sales as well. An employee can attend to one or many sales. A shipper can attend to one or many orders as well. Okay, that's why we have it the one side here, and then for you to see the relationship, I click on that, I click on properties, and then it opens up the relationship. You can see shipper ID and shipper ID. This is my sales fact at the top and my shippers table at the bottom, and then you can see. Okay, you can see here we have shipper ID 2 repeated 3 times, and here we only have that shipper ID once. That is why we say one to many. This is many because we have that shipper repeating many times, right? And it's only one here. Okay. And then come to the bottom here, you see it says cardinality, which is just it says the top, which is the star, is the many, which is this one, and the one is the shipper here, that is why it says many to one. Though we have different variants, depends on which way it comes. If this table were to be reversed and the shipper is at the top and the fact sales is at the bottom, then it will be one to many, because this will be the shipper here will be the one side and the fact sales will be the many side. And then we have the one to one, which is there's no multiple, the 2 is one to one, right? And then you have the many to many side as well. Though this is possible, but it affects the system performance. So what normally we'll do in that case is we'll break that many to many side down to multiple tables, which we, in some cases, if you're familiar with Excel, you can call it the lookup tables as well. Okay. All right. And then the direction here, because you can see the arrow here is pointing this way, meaning it's going to flow from when you run a query, it's going to flow from here down into here, because it's going to flow from the one side. It goes into that table and look for that product and then filter through. It comes with a filter and said, okay, I have the product ID here. It's product ID 1. And then it comes here and then filter on that product ID, product ID column for just that product ID 1. I want to filter for it, and then it carries out the task which you have asked it to do. Either it's an average, either it's a sum or mean or max or whatever you ask it to do. Okay. And that's the direction of flow. So here it says cross filter direction. It can be a cross filter, which is the flow can be from here and also the flow can be from here. So in that case, you have it both. But in this case, it's a one directional flow. Okay. So now I want to create a relationship between my date table and my fact sales. And in here, if you remember my fact sales, I've got 3, no, is it 3 or 2? I have 3 dates. Yeah, I have the order date, I have the required date, I have the ship date. The difference between the dates, these 3 dates is the order date is the date when that order was placed. Okay. The required date is the date when the customer requires that product or that order to be delivered by. And the ship date is the date when, bearing in mind that, okay, the shipping time is 48 hours, right? The shipping time is 48 hours and the customer wants it, today is the 12th. So 12 plus on the 14th, and the customer wants this to be delivered on the 14th, meaning that we have to dispatch it today. But at sometimes when that ship date will not meet the requirement, so will be entered there. So the date when the order was placed, the date when the ship was shipped, that is when it left them, and the date when the user the customer requires it by. You may or may not meet that date requirement. So, but one thing with relationship is that you can only have one active. You can have many relationships to from a table to another table, like from our date table to our fact cells. We can have many relationships, but there will only be one active one at any particular time. The other ones will be, which you create, will be inactive. But you have DAX function that we can use to activate that relationship as at when needed. Okay, so now I want to create from this date to create the relationship. I'll drag it, I'll click on the dates column here, click and hold the mouse like I'm doing, and then drag it and drop it on the column you want here, which is my order date. I want that to be my primary active date. I click on that, and you can see here my date and my fact table. So in this case, my date is the one side and my fact is the many side. So that is why you see it as one to many, and it's a single directional. And then here you can see here, make this relationship active. You're going to see what is going to happen next now. Make this relationship active, and I click on yes, I'll save. And that's how I've created that relationship. And you can see now it's brought that relationship here. Now I want to create another relationship from the date to the required dates. And I drag it as well, drop it. And then you can see it's still the same thing, one to many. Hello, please mute yourself. And you can see that make this relationship active is unchecked. I can, if I try to check it, it's going to tell me, you see here, there's an ambiguous part between this and this because there's already an existing one. So you cannot have two active relationship at once. So I have to uncheck it, and it's going to allow me to create it. And then it's going to depict that with the dotted line. You see, the previous one is a solid line, but now this is a dotted line. That is to tell me that is an inactive relationship. Is an inactive relationship. Then I bring the next one to my ship date. It's going to be the same thing, and I click on that. So I have 3 relationships from one table to another, but only one is active. Only one is active. And how do you differentiate? The solid line is the active one, and the dotted line is the inactive one. Okay. Now I have created my model. This is my model. I can now begin to create my DAX measures. So I come out of this, I just click on that, and there's nothing, you won't see any difference. And now I want to begin to create my DAX measures. And what are DAX measures? That is, like I said the other day, is data analysis expression. Data analysis expression, DAX. X is the expression, okay? And that is the language for Power BI, okay? I can come to here, table. You see here, I come into here. Here are my building blocks, the different visuals I can use. I can come here, and I come here and customer ID. No, it's okay. You can see that I've just dropped it in there. Customer ID, employee ID, drop. Okay, okay. Click on it as I'm dropping it. Order ID. Then Excuse me. And you can see and here you can see this sigma sign here next to discount, next to freight, next to order ID, next to quantity, and next to unit price. Any column in your data that you see the sigma sign next to like this, it means that these columns can be aggregated. Aggregation means you can sum it, you can get the average, you can get the mean, the max, okay? Meaning they're additive, okay? And like this one, which is my order ID, I don't want it to be aggregated. So I'll come back in here, I highlight it here, and then you come to the top here. You can see here, and then it says here, because it's saying its whole number, which is true, but then here it says summarization is now counting it. I don't want it to do anything again. Said don't summarize, and then it's going to take that sigma sign away. So it won't be, yeah, it will not be regarding it
Creators
as.
announced a new job
Say that
on
again?
Workday.
Are you talking to me?
Ending on 18th of October.
Hello?
It's a
Really?
Mhm.
In
Hello?
Workday itself.
Yeah. All right. So you can see that, and you can see here, even without me asking it, it's actually summed all the prices. I don't need that either. So I can always change that, but I will leave that now. I can make changes to this one at the right time. Okay. So if I click on this, it gives me that all the columns I have here. I can also make that change here. I can click on it and then I can select here. I don't want it to summarize it, and then I can select don't summarize, and it will take that out straight away on the unit price and the order ID. That's the order ID here. What can I say? That's my order ID. Even the discount, I don't need it summed. So then summarize. But this
the other
change
ID
I'm
is
making,
there under data. This is
no, here I can't see here. I can't see it's on this side, on these columns, the list here.
okay.
It should be. Well, what I'm saying is, you can see here, right? This is only for this visual. For another visual, which I can bring into here, I have to do the same thing for it. And look at my date now. If I don't want the date recorded the way it is here, I can come into my data here and then look at the date, select the date. And then you can see at the top here, it says order date, the type is date, and then the format. I can click on this drop down and I can select the date, the format I want. In this case, I want the short, and it's going to make the change straight away. Okay, so you can see it's made the change here. And I come to the next one, I want to make that same change. And the changes which I've made here, because I made it from here, not in the visual, is permanent for this. Okay, so, but now, if I remove everything, here, you can see I have the sum of the quantity. from the beginning to the end of the data in this database, right? This is the total quantity that was sold. And I'm now trying to explain how Power BI DAX works. So what this has done, let me go to the tables to use that to explain to you. I go to fact sales. And you see this column here, which says quantity. This one highlighted. What Power BI DAX does is it applies SOM, and the SOM, that function, sums everything in that column, irrespective of the other adjoining columns next to it. No, it is just that column, and that is what is applied. So it sums everything. Okay, and that is how DAX works. DAX works on a column basis. Once you give it a command, sum quantity, right, is going to sum everything in that column. And that is the result we have here. That's the result we have here. Okay, but now, that being said, I said it works on the column basis. But now I have my unit price and I have my quantity, right? I don't know what my sales amount is. And for me to know what my sales amount is the unit price multiplied by the quantity. Okay, you bought 10 of these at £1 each. That gives you £10. So now I have the unit price, which is £1, and I have the quantity, which is 10, but I don't have my total sales. So I can, like I said in previous class, I can now generate my total sales in here. And there are two ways to do it. There's one thing which we call the calculated column, and then we have a measure. A calculated column is that within the data which is already been imported into Power BI, I can create another column, and that column will be a transformation of the data which I already have in my Power BI. Okay, it's not going to be an additional, because it's just going to be the metadata. So we're just saying, okay, this and this column, just multiply them together, but it's not going to be storing additional data in the data storage, because this data already there. We're just manipulating them together, which is different from if I have done this calculation in the database and I imported it in. Okay. So I can either do it as a calculated column, which is going to be a physical column here, or I can do it as a measure. Okay. Depends on the reusability, but a measure is a virtual query that executes, right? Just like our view. It's like our view is not does not store the data. It only stores the metadata, which is the definition of the data. And when that view or that measure is called, it goes to the underlying data and then give us the result based on the logic which we have already provided. Okay, so here we have this, which is the sum, but we need to create a new column, which is now going to give us the total measure, the total sales, but I want to create it as a measure. Okay, and we're going to see the difference. Okay, let me do something before I show you that. I want us to take a break. Let me do something before I show you that. This is now this is Power BI generated aggregation, right? You can use Power BI, you can create Power BI visuals without having to write any code. Power BI will do the lifting for you. But there is a limitation to that, because this quantity, which I have some quantity, I cannot reuse it elsewhere. If I need to reuse this quantity elsewhere, I cannot, because it's the engine generated for me. And that is why you need to the DAX query and DAX measures. Okay, so let's create our first DAX measure. But before I do that, for good practice sake, we normally advise that you separate them, because when I'm creating a measure, you can create it in any of these tables as the case may be. But you may be looking, because it's not really part of the table, though they are using the data in the table, but they're not really part of the table. So you create a separate holding place for them. So what you do is you come in and go to the enter data, this one here, click on it. You see, I don't need any column in it. I just type in, I call this one key measures, because I'm going to be storing my measures in here, key measures, and I click on load. It's going to bring that into here as a table. It's creating that, and you can see it here straight away. But you can see it is still carrying the same logo sign like the normal data set, which is not. And the reason is because I have this column in here. But now I'll begin to create the first one. So let's create our first measure. Come to here, right click, and then it brings you this drop down, and then I select new column, new measure. If I wanted to create a calculated measure, I click on the new column, but I'm not creating a calculated column. I'm creating this as a measure. And in here at the top here, you can see it says measure and equal to. This part here, which says measure, that is going to be where you will always put the name that you want to give the measure you are creating. The name you're going to give the measure you are creating. And your logic will be after the equal sign. So in this case, I want to call it quantity. That's the name, quantity. And I want to say SOM. You can see here is a keyword, and I have variants of the SOM. I have summarized columns, and I have SOM X. SOM X, don't let me dive into it. SOM, what it does is just an aggregation. And let's look at the meaning here. It says read more. Sorry. It says read more. Add all the numbers in a column. That is what SOM does. It adds all the numbers in a column. So in this case, what is going to happen is now I need to provide the column that I want it to add all the numbers together in that column. So I open the bracket. You see now, it's now asking me, you look at the top here, it's asking me for the name of the column. Okay, and you can see here it says I have the customer table, and then I have within the customer table, this is what I have. Within the date table, this is what I have. And each table you will see is going to bring back everything about each table. So you have to give the name of your table plus the column name. So in this case, I want the sales, I want the fact sales, and I want the quantity column. And this is the column I want. I click on that, and then I close the bracket. Okay, and I click on enter. And in here, you can see it has created it here now for me. If you come into this folder, which I have key measures, and you can see that's created the measure for me, quantity. And you can see the sign next to it. That is like a calculator. It means it's a calculated measure. It is calculated. Okay. Now I don't need this column anymore. I need to keep it there until I've created another object within that folder. If I did not create another object within this folder cannot be empty. If I try to delete this, then it's going to throw me an error. So now I come back in here and I say delete, excuse me, delete from model. That's the column 1 field. You see, are you sure you want to delete column 1? And I say yes. And the logo, the sign here is going to change. You can see now it's changing to calculator, meaning that it is a calculated folder. It is not a real table. It's a calculated folder. If I click on this, and this is just it, it's just going to, this is all that is in that. Okay. Now the same thing, if I bring that measure, I can bring that measure into here as well. And then you see it's going to give me the same figure with this. It is the same figure because they're doing the same thing. It's just summing all the rows in that quantity column. Okay, summing all the rows in that quantity column. All right. Now, but this is more, the one I created now, which is this calculation, is more flexible than this one. I can call this one anytime because if you come into this one, SOM, this is where we created it from, you cannot see it. There's no, it's not physical. It's not there. Okay. So now let's say I want to show you the difference. I want to now find the quantity by year. Okay, what quantity, because this is telling me everything within the table, within our data. And now I can begin to slice it down bit by bit. And what do I want to slice it with? I want to slice it with, first of all, let's slice it by, don't let me do the year. Let's slice it by the employee. That's quite simple. Okay, so this employee, I want to say quantity by employee. This one, I now bring in employee, and let's bring in the employee full name. And you can see it's broken it down. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. The two is still the same figures, everything. But now let's bring it down a little bit, make it more a bit interesting. Let's look at the year. Okay. You can see the total is still the same, but you can see how the figures begin to slice down. Now, what we can do, what we also do is this. Let's now bring in a slicer. Let me look for my slicer. Oh, this is my slicer. This one is my slicer. I click on it. For you to click to bring in any visual from here into your canvas here, if I select this and I go and click in another visual here, it's going to replace this visual with the new one you clicked on. So be mindful. If you don't want to do that, you just want to bring in a new visual into here, click into a separate page. You are not highlighting anything here, and then you go and click on your the visuals here. So I click on the slicer here, which is just a filter. Okay, and I can now filter, I can now bring in my you can see here now. Now look at everything we have in sales here. Without me having to do much, I can click on here and it's going to filter. So you can see the quantity has reduced. And what that means is this is all the quantity that went through this shipping line, Speedy Express. If I change that, you see it changes. If I change that, it changes. And you can see, and this now brings me to what is called the context filter. You can filter in Power BI either directly or you can filter in Power BI from an external source. In this case, I have a filter here, right? This filter slicer which I have here is filtering this visual. If there are more than one visual here, once I click on this filter, it will filter out. So the engine in Power BI understands that everything on this canvas can be filtered internally or externally, can be affected internally or externally. So that is what actually informs the way you write your DAX query. For you to see, I can now, okay, within here, I can click on 1997 and it's going to filter for that alone. Well, filter for me. Yeah, no. It should be, no, it's not, okay. I know why. No, because, okay, I didn't write the right thing, but you can highlight this and it's going to filter for you. If I take out this, because I've not written proper measures now, then I'll click on it and then it will filter for me. But you see, it's only highlighting for me here now, right? This one. Though my total is still remaining the same. Okay. So filter context, right? And now also, I have created the first measure. I now want to see by year what my total is. You know, if I come in here now, it's giving me everything based on the whole the periods that are available in here. But I want to see it by year, by my other year now. So I can create another measure, which I'll come in here, I click on here. And that is where I now introduced you to another keyword or function in Power BI DAX. It's called calculate, but this time I want to say quantity. That's the name, quantity by year. Quantity by year, and then I'll now say, I'll use this one, which is called calculate. And what calculate does, it says calculate, it says evaluate an expression in a context modified by filters. So an expression is like the quantity which I've just created, which is some quantity, that is an expression. Okay, so I click on that. And what is my expression? I can either come in here and type in some quantity, fact sales quantity, right? And then I continue. But I don't need to do that because why? I've already created that expression. So in that case, I will use my expression directly. So I'll say fact, and then I'll say quantity is going to bring that. You can see that straight away when I type in the first keyword, it's brought out and it's showing me that, okay, yeah, you have a measure which is called quantity. I click on that, and then I want to apply filter, okay? And then I now say, excuse me, filter. And it says filter, when it's a live filter, returns a table, right? No, I don't want to use filter yet. I want to break it down. I don't want to use filter. Let me use, I want to break it down by date now. So I will use same period last year. It says same period last year returns a set of dates in the current selection from the previous year. So I passed in my same period last year, and now is that same period last year is asking me, pass me the dates. So my dates, and that is why we have the date table separate. And now I'm now going to pass in my dates table. And my dates table, which is this, I'm passing in that date, okay? And I close it, and I close the second one, okay? Now bring in another visual here. I'm not sure I'll be able to do what I want to do. I can bring that in here. No, okay. 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 170, 1720. And that is looking at, because I already have that, change that, because I already have 1 year selected, because I have, if I select 1998, what is giving me is the total quantity based on this criteria for this one in 1997, because I said same period last year. In fact, that's not the name I should for this one here. Sorry, it should be quantity here. Quantity last year, which is LY last year. Okay, that's my name. Okay, quantity last year for that. And if I take, because all these filters affect it. Okay. Now, that's the quantity last year. If I bring in, for you to understand better, I would, okay, let me write another query. Uh, 2 years ago. Now, I have the option to use any of those two that I've used, measures that I've created before, the quantity and the quantity last year. Okay, last year and last year, 2 years ago. So let's, for you to have an understanding, I'll use quantity last year. And then come in and say same period last year. And I pass in my date. And I'll close that and I'll close that. So quantity 2 years ago, if I bring it into here, you can see the difference. That's the quantity last year, that's quantity 2 years ago. And that's the total quantity. Now, for you to have a better understanding of what we're doing, for you to see, if I come in and bring in another slicer, and this time around, I'll bring in my year into the slicer. Okay, if I click on, excuse me, is 1998, this is what I have, right? You can see this one matches this one. So this one is my current year. This is 2 years ago, last year, and that's 2 years ago. So in this case, 1998 is this figure. 1990, sorry, let me rearrange this so that we can follow in sequence. It's not allowing me to, normally I should be able to drag and drop. Okay, quantity. Okay, now this is my current year. That's my CY. Okay. And that tallies with this, meaning that this is last year, which is 1 year after, and that will be 1997 quantity, and that will be 1996 quantity. Okay, so for you to understand, watch now when I change the year to 1997, that the current year figure will change to this figure here. You can see the current year figure has changed to this figure, and the same thing here, and that is last year. So we'll be 1996. And you can see 2 years ago is blank because this is last year. There's nothing after 1996. We don't have data for 1995, and that is why this is blank. If I come in here, it will only show me this. There will be no last year because there's no 1995, neither is there 1994 data. And you can see how it is filtering that. Okay. Yes, let's quickly take a 10 minutes break. We should be back for 2:30. Okay. So I'm going to stop recording. Okay. So we can see that. And now let me quickly use the just 1 minute.
Sorry, sir. Before you continue, can I quickly get a clarification?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just because the year we are using now, it is assumed to be a full calendar year, which means from January to December. You have some financial years that expire or come to an end in another year, where you have to use 2 years like 1996 or 1997. What happens in that situation?
That is a different calculation. Is not what we're looking at here.
Okay.
Yeah. You will have to have taken care of that in your logic.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We did not plan for that at all. There's a way to go around it, but we didn't plan for that at all in here. Okay. So quickly, let me quickly create some measures because I want us to be able to create a visual before we. So quick one, let's create together. We have our fact table. We want to know, let's create our total. Use my measure. Where's it gone? Okay. So I want to create total freight. And my total freight is just going to be sum of the fact sales freight. Oh no, that was going to give me an error. Okay, did they put it? Okay, it applied it back. Okay, so we have our total freight. Now we want to have our total sales. So we're going to be writing another thing. And we have, let's call this one sales amount. Sales amount. And we're going to need we need the unit price. Should come up, unit price. Should bring that up for me. Okay. calculate. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need calculate here. I need fact sales. No, it's going to be a sum. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Sum, and then I need fact sales, and that is going to be unit price. Multiply by fact sales. Okay, I need to join the two together. Let me do it separately, then I'll apply it. No, I should not have to do that. I'm going to do right. Sales amount equals. Okay, let me do it. Cancel that for me to do that. And let me do it as a. Come in here. I want to create it as a column. It's the same thing as we're writing this, but you see now instead of measure, it is column. I'll call it sales amount. Okay. And then I'll say unit price multiply by quantity. I want this one. And you remember that we have discount. So that is supposed to be our total price. And we need to now bring out our discount as well from it. So normally we will say, okay, multiply by 1, which should be in bracket. This one will be in bracket 1 minus discount. Okay, and then I'll close that. Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm multiplying the unit price by the quantity, but then I'm also now subtaking 1, right? Subtracting my discount because our discount is in percentage. Okay. So if I had multiplied directly our discount by the unit price multiplied by the quantity is going to be, say, for example, we have a 15% discount, right? Meaning that we've given away, of this amount, we've given away 15% and we are retaining 85%. If I multiply directly without using this logic, which is 1 minus the discount, right, is going to apply the discount. So we're just going to get the value for the 15%, not the value for the 18%. But now when you're saying 1, which is 100, minus the discount, saying in this case our discount is 15%, is going to be 100 minus 15 will give us 85. So the 85 is what is going to multiply this other unit price and quantity together. Okay. And it's creating that. Now you can see here, it is showing me with a different logo and the sums assigned that it is now a calculated column. So if I come back in here, and you can see here the sales amount, which is this multiplied by this, right, will give us 77. And let's look for one where we have a discount, and then you'll see how the discount has been applied.
Sorry, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the sales amount, is it possible for us to calculate it in our database instead of having?
Yes, we can. Yeah, you can. I said you can.
Okay.
But when you are thinking about what you have to think about is the volume of the data you are bringing in. Like I mentioned to you the data and this storage limitation you have
Yeah.
based on your license. So when you're having a huge volume of data, you don't want to bring data that is a repetition into here.
Okay.
Because this column which I've just created is it's not the data is this data is not sitting here. It is just the logic that is saying multiply this by this and put it here.
So sorry,
Okay.
in a situation where we want to synchronize the database to the Power BI, I mean to automate it. So this feed now, is it going to automatically calculate itself, or we have to do the process all over again?
No, you are creating it.
Okay.
You are creating it in here. Is a table here. It's already, like I said to you, when we loaded the data, we have loaded the data into Power BI.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is there. You don't have to repeat it. It's a process. It's nothing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right.
now let's look at this one. Multiply 14.7 by 60. We have 14.7 multiplied by 60. It should give us 822, right? But now we need to apply a 0.5% discount. That is 5% discount. So now what we need to do is with a 100 multiply by 0.05 to give us that. No, what did I do? Sorry, my bad. 100 minus 5%, which gives us 95. So we have 95%. So now we have 822, 882 rather, times 95%. 837.9, and that's what we have in here. You can see that now. So it has applied the discount. Okay. So that's the logic for that. I've done that one. And say, for example, I want to know still my actual sales. Ooh. Even this one, I should discounted sales amount. I'll call it discounted sales amount. Discounted sales amount. That is this one. And then I can create my original sales amount without that, because we may need it as well. Add sales unit price multiplied by add sales unit price. Okay. And you can see that here now. So if I want to know the discounted amount, I can now subtract this from that as well, which I can do in, I don't need to do that in here as well. So there's always a logic, depends on how you want to do it. There's no one way to do it. You can decide which way suits you best. Okay. So I can now come back in here. I've created my total freight. I can create another measure. Which is not going to be total sales amount. And it's going to be sum of that. And it's going to be fact total sales amount. Where's my sales amount? Can do I can do average. For me to get average, I'll type in average. You can say returns the average arithmetic mean of all the numbers in the column. So, and then I'll put in quantity, fact sales quantity. Okay. And then I can have another one. Max. You say max returns the highest value, numeric value or largest string in a column, or the largest value between two scalar expression. And then I'll do my mean. Says return the absolute value, right? No, sorry, it's the mean I'm looking for. The mean returns the smallest numeric value, just like the opposite of the max. Okay. Okay. And what else can I bring? Just looking over to grade. Okay, that's the total. I've done the cells.
Sorry, can you also do mode? Is it possible?
Say that again.
Can you also do mode?
Can I do what?
Do like mode.
Yes, I can do mode.
Okay.
I can do mode. You just
The MOD is it gonna be MOD?
MOD. Yeah, MOD.
Okay.
You can see that. Returns the remainder of after the number is divided by, right? Okay. Then here now, I need the number. So for me to do that, I'm not going to do it because right for the mode, I need the number and I need the divisor, which I'm not going to be doing. Okay. But I can do it if I have the requirements. Okay. I'm just thinking of what to create next. Okay. Just not to waste time because of the time fast spent. I want to create visuals so that you can see my visuals. Now, I have this. I'm deleting everything here for a start, and then I'll recreate. Come on. Now I have my blank page as it is right now. Right, I don't want the canvas to be white as it is. So I want to change the background. So for me to change the background, I want it to be a little bit colorful. You see, I have here, you have a format, I have the page information, I have the canvas setting. You can select your settings, the different types. You can see here, later depends on what you want, but I will leave it in the on the default, and then the same here. And then I have my canvas here, which is the color. Again, it's white currently. I want to change it like something. You can see all the color palettes. I can create new colors. So where it says more colors, click on that, and then you can begin to mix your color. I like the green, like something like olive green, and that is that created. So, but then I have it at 100% transparent. That is why. So I reduce the transparency. Then you can see that. And here I want 6.4. Yeah, that's custom. That's okay. Okay, so you can see I've made a change there. Come back in here. I want it a little bit lighter. 50%, yeah. Because of what I want to do, I will leave it that way. Okay. Okay, so this is now my page. And I want to begin to, the first thing is I want to see, bring in a visual in here. And in that visual, I want to see my custom. I want to see my customer name. And I want to see the employee who served this customer. So I want to bring that in. Okay. And also I want to see the shipper. Okay. And also I want to see now the date the order was made. The dates it is required by, the date it was shipped. Okay, and now I want to see the quantity that was bought. Okay, I want to see the freight, and I want to see the discounted and the total sales as well. This is what we should have made. Okay, now you can see this is long. I can now make changes to the name here as well. So I come in here, you see I have company name. I can change that to just company. So click on that, and then you can see, right click on that. It should give me, right click on that. Right click on the name, and then it says rename this visual, and it's only going to affect this. The renaming is only going to affect it in this visual and not going to be elsewhere. So for here, I can just keep it as that. And this one, I'll call it employee. Okay. Step out. Where do I have two company names? Oh, this one is the shipper. Okay. Shipper. Okay. And this one now, This one, I want to call it discounted. Discounted sales amount. I'll not put it total, I'll just call it discounted sales amount. And I want to put some spaces. Okay, this is made a change, and then I'll do the same here. Okay, and you can see now I have more space. So if I don't want this total to show, I can also remove it, but for now, I'll just leave it for this. Okay. All right. This one I can change that because I want to save more space. That data could have reduced it, but for now, just leave that. Okay. Now, what else do I want to see? My report. I have that. Let's use the card. There's something we call the card, which is this one. I have my card here. Because I'm going to be creating more of these, I'll first of all do the first one, and then if I need to make any change, modifications to it, selected that, I can also come in here and add some filters, but I'm not doing that at the moment. And then here, I can remove that if I don't want it. And then here, you can filter as well. So for this one now, I selected that and I want to put in my average and I want the figures to show. Now I want to make change to this, okay? And I click on that. You can see I can remove the title and other things there. And here I have that the title is off, but then I want to reduce the size. So, and the size I want to reduce is the size of the value, the category label, that's fine. The font, I can change the font here if I want and reduce. So let me reduce the size and make it darker. That, okay. And then color value, can reduce that as well. And yeah, that's for the video. I can make changes to the property as well. The data format, I can make changes to it. You can see here, you have a whole custom, which you can choose from. And then you can have alternate formatting as well. Okay. Okay. Title. I don't want that, but I want to change something. It's not here. Okay, close that. Out value. Text wrap around. 30. I can see that. Let's reduce that now. So now I've made a change. Let me see if I can change that color as well. Where's my color? And the color is black. Let me choose. Display color. Yeah, that's the unit. Yeah, change the color as well. now I'm happy with this. Let me make this bold. Okay, yeah, make that bold. And then I can now copy this. Click on copy. I'll paste. And I want it, let's do 3. Come on. Okay. Okay, so this one, I don't want it as max, I want it as min. So I just select that and I drop that in here. Change it to min and I want the average quantity, this one. Okay, that's the average quantity. What else can I bring in here? Okay, now I want to see the quantity. By customer. Okay, I have that in here, quantity by customer. What view am I looking at? Let's look at the pie chart. So I want to see the quantity, and I want to slice the quantity by the year. Where's my date table? And I want to slice it by the year. You can see that. This, yeah, I'll do something else again. This, now I can reformat this in the sense that you can make any change you want here on the title and the legend. You can decide where you want to put the legend. Click on here, you can select wherever you want to put the legend. If you don't want it, say if I select top, you can see it's put the legend on the top. Center right, you see, you can select whichever position you want, but I will want it right, center right here. So you can select wherever you want to put that. Okay, let's do another. That's a pie chart. That's a let's do a back pie chart. Or I need to do one more thing. Yeah. I want to break the quantity. Okay, I've broken the quantity by year now. Sales amount by year as well. So I have the total. Let's do the discounted. Okay, and I want to break it by year. Okay, that is what we have. So, and yeah, you can change the color as you want as well. You can select whichever color suits you for each of these. Your company may have their specific colors, so you may want to use that. And then you can also select what you want to display. You see here, the label, it says it's giving me the value and the percentage. So that's the value and the percentage. You can choose what you want. You just want the value alone. You want the percentage. You want the category by value and stuff like that. So in this case, because we don't know, but if when hover around over it, then it will give us so. But this way, let's do the this by that. Okay, so it's giving us the year, and if the tooltip, you can see what it's telling me. The tooltip is giving me the other information, which is counted, and I can change my title as well. Here I'll just say, instead of that, I'll just say discounted sales amount, and I can also position it as well. The way it is, that's my title. I can position it so I want it to be more central, so centered. The same thing I can do with this one as well. And look at what I said earlier. If I want to change this now, I have this selected, which I will bring back. I have this selected, but I can change it into, let's change it into a bar chart and see. And depends on what stack column, or you can use any one. You can see the name clustered, but let's use the stack. And you will see it's changed it to that because I highlighted it and I click on that. You can see you can always, okay, so in this case, I don't want that. This is what I want. And then it will return me back to what was originally. And then I want to see the quantity sold by employee. So let's bring in a tree map. And I'm going to drop my employee full name into my details. And I want to see the quantity by the employee. So the bigger, let me do it that way. Mm. Okay. Another problem you may have is arranging this. Let's start with the count of customers, average. Let's start another one, count of
Hello, sir. What's the name for the chart you use for quantity by full name?
what's the what?
That chart, the one you use
That's a
for
tree map. Tree map.
tree map. Okay.
Okay. And I select that. I want to take the name off. I don't need that name there. So I can come in here. You see where I have my title. I can change the name and I say quantity by employee. Quantity sold even. Okay, and I want it centered. And if I don't want, sorry, if I don't want that header, I can remove that header as well. Gives me more room because, but then now I need to now make the labeling to show. There's no value, there's nothing in there. So my labeling, what is there? I don't have my legend, so it's not really categorizing, that is not right. I don't like that. Data label, yes, you can now see it's brought in the value in here, but then you have what is called the tooltip, which is you over it, and then it will give you the exact figure. You can see that. So it's rounded it up to the nearest 1,000, but it's giving you actual value in the tooltip. Okay, quickly, I'll bring in something else, which is this report. I need to put a title on it. So I go into insert. Where's my text box? I have this one, coming to the top there, insert text box. And I click on that. And then I can now type in, I say, Northwind sales analysis. Okay. And I want to centralize it. Select, I want to increase the font size, say 20. Okay, and now I can fill in the page as well. So come in here, it's highlighted that. Then I can, no, I don't want the font. I want to fill in the color there. So that's highlighted. Size and style. Background color is white. I don't want it as white. I want it as it's dark green. Now I want it's dark green. I want that. And style. Where's my font? This one guys should be showing me text word. Let's go back in here. Alternate text. No. Should be here. Sometimes you just have to look for it where it is. Where's my title? Let's see. No, it's not there. Okay. Come in here. Okay. I have my text in here, which I think is this. And I can select my there as white. Yep. And also, I just don't want it that. I want it bold as well. I want it bold. I can select different font size. Let me use Lucinda. And now that is my report title. Okay. What else can I bring in here? I need to do, let's bring in a slicer for the year. So here I bring in a slicer. So my slicer, I want my slicer to be thin, and I want it this way. So here first I come into the properties. No, there's something I need to do. Where is that? More options. No, that's that. Nice slicer. My positioning. Not letting me. No, it's that. Yes, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, let's do something. It's in there first. Okay, and one thing with the slicer is you have to be careful to format, let's see, to get it, because it's very tricky with the setting. I want to change some things in here, but I can't find it. Okay, still training. Okay, so that the format, no, I don't want that. No. Where is that? There's something I'm looking for. Slicer settings. Okay. Slicer settings, I don't want it. I want it as horizontal. Vertical, I want it. Let's do it as style. Okay. Let's do it as style, and I don't want the header. So, and now I want to change the color. My value is that. Okay. I want to make it bold. I want it black. No, I want it. Let me first change this so I can see. Okay, the background, come into my background. I want to change the background to the same green. And now I've changed the background. Okay, and the font color, I want to change it to white. Okay. Okay. I'm not looking at that one, but I'm still managing it, so I can move this up a little bit. Okay. Okay. Here I want to say I have the quantity size. What is, can I create? Okay, let's look at the differentiation between and fonts. No. No. Okay. Okay. So for each of these, and I want it by year, small multiples. No, I will reverse it. Mm, No, that won't work. Let's change that to take that out and then come back. It's doing a count of this, which I don't want. Mm.
Sorry, sir. Is it not possible to put years on the x-axis and put total sales on the y-axis to get a graph of
Yeah,
that?
I'm trying to do that. Yeah. Okay, can do that. And then you can also change your color as you want as well. Also do your colors as well. Okay, I'll leave those ones. And I want to put something in here. And what can I put in there? Where can I create and put in there? Okay, this is discounted by year. This is quantity by year. This is sales amount by year. That is by employee. Let's do another thing. I'll make this one smaller. Okay. Let's do a matrix. In fact, this one I should have even done it as a matrix. But yeah, I should have done this one as a matrix. Let me change this one to matrix. No, do that. Okay. So I need to make some changes now. You can see by shipper and then for each of the customers. But then all these ones, I have to reduce some things there. So let's take it out and then start all over again. I start by the year. For each shipper, I want to see, I don't need the order date. I don't need that. Don't need that in there. I need the, for each shipper, I need the employee to cascade down to, no, employee, then the shipper. Okay. Then the shipper. Okay, so if we click on the employee, you can see breakdown by shipper. So I have the quantity, have the total freight, I have the discount, and I have that for each one in here. And this man, Okay. Sometimes you have to struggle for space as well because you may be required to cramp a lot of things on one page. And unfortunately, this finishing, sometimes it does matter a lot to the users.
Does the number of pages matter? Can you not go to the second page if need
You can
be?
go to the second page, but depends on what you're trying to achieve. That is just one thing. Like what I'm working on right now, work. Normally in a normal report, it will be a cascading report, but in Power BI, I cannot do a cascade. The cascade will not work for what they're looking for. So now I have to scramble everything into one page. Okay, so I want to change quantity.
If you put them all in one page, doesn't it affect the user experience? Because people are not technical, they can find it very difficult to discern what you have presented.
No, because it's each one is a separate block on its own.
Okay.
Yeah, they can see the blocks, right? That's why it's visualization. They can see the blocks. Right, I wanted to see if I can bring in a chart, what's it called? Here, I can remodel this one just to fit in this space. Okay, now I can bring in something else into here, which is, I've been able to write another DAX measure, which is probably going to look for, let's look for our profits. Let's look for cost of profit, okay? The profit rather. So we have the unit price. Can we get the profit? Okay, we have cost per unit. Okay, so we have cost per unit, and we have the quantity bought. So we can create another measure. That is the product. Doesn't allow me to do that. You just want that. No, but I should be able to do this. No, he's not bringing that out. Okay, because it's in another table. There's a relationship. No. There's no relationship between the product table. No, there is. There is. Do we have the product cost? Do we have it anywhere here? No. So where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? I don't want to use. Why I'm struggling is because of the functions which I don't want to confuse you at this basic level, and I'm not taking you those functions. Try. What should I do? Delete that. Okay. Let me beat. So you can beat that. Create as a measure. Okay. Okay. Does it work? Okay. Now I have a cost. And I have to look for profit. Let me calculate profit now. Okay. So if I bring in, I'll bring in a table. And I want to bring in my profit. What's the matter? Okay. Okay. I'll have to use what I don't want to use. Okay.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. I thought we have unit selling price,
No, yeah,
not unit cost.
That's the name I gave it.
Oh,
It's not the name from
Okay.
the table, from the column. That's the name I gave this, my calculation.
Okay.
I want to use, okay, let's use this. I'll have to calculate the cost. Okay, and I'm going to use SOMX. And SOMX is different from SOM. So you see what SOMX says? Read more. It says return the sum of an expression evaluated for each row, now not column. We're switching from column to rows by using the SOMX. Okay, so I want to use that, and I want to use, okay, table is fact cells, okay, and then comma, no, comma, and then it's quantity. I'm gonna bring my quantity from here. Multiply by unit cost is it's not going to allow me. There's something else.
What we have there is unit price, not unit cost.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I know, because it's not saying this. It's supposed to come from another table, which is that table. Okay, let me delete that. Get it out. Okay. It's not allowing me to do that, and I know why. Let me see my model again. I have a value in here. So from here, I can pick it up to use here. But why? This multiplied by that. What am I going to do? That's not working, I know. I want to know if this is working. That is not working. What's the reason? Calculate Unicode function. Some cannot be on this. Okay, now I can see. You know why that is not working? I'll show you now. Ooh, I have to go back and make a change. We see this unit price. Yeah, it's coming in as currency fixed. Let me change it to decimal. it as decimal as well. Okay, that should work now. Still feeling not. Still seeing it as a string. Still seeing it as a string. Still seeing it as a string.
Sir, what if you change the distance to whole number instead of
No, I can't
decimal?
change it to whole number. I'm going to lose the figures there because you have decimal numbers there. So if I change it to whole number, it's going to, right? So that is why. And I've changed that now. No, still not allowing me to do that. Not allowing me to do that. Okay. I have to go back and reformat my data, which I don't have the time because the time is fast spent now. Okay. What else can I bring in? I just want to fill this bait. The quantity by year, quantity by. Let's do quantity by customer. Let me see if I can create a moving average. If I create the moving average, I can now use the moving average in a chart. But I've forgotten the let me look for my script. It's not something I use regularly, so. And also, you see, most of these DAX measures, right? Like in my workplace, we don't really use it. What we normally do for all our calculations, really, we use SQL, and everything will have been done in our database. So we're just using Power BI as a data display, really. We're not using it for, we're not using much of the DAX calculations. We do our calculations in Power BI. Sorry, in our database rather, sorry.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So you mean these Power BI is just like a reporting tool?
It's not just like a report, it's a reporting tool. Though you can use it for analysis as well. Yeah, you can use it for analysis as well. It's just the same thing. It's just that it gives you more visuals. Your data is visualized than any other reporting tool.
Okay,
you know, this, yeah, you tend to understand visual data than numeric data. Okay.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's it. So let's look at let's create something on the sales side. Okay, let's quickly create one.
So what we are saying in essence is that it's better to do all your data, all your computation in SQL than use Power BI for just display.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Then let's look at what is called cumulative or running total. You can call it cumulative, you can call it running total, cumulative sales. Okay, and we have this calculates, right? It changes an expression like I've done before. It's, like I said earlier, that your DAX function actually works on the column. Sorry, yeah, on the column down. But then, like when I was trying to use the SOMX earlier, the SOMX now changes from column to rows. Okay. If you're not, and the SOMX, you can only use SOMX in the table, not in a measure. Really, you can use this in a measure as well, but you now want to calculate. Say, like I wanted to calculate. I have the unit price of a product, and I have the quantity that was sold. I now wanted to multiply the unit price or the unit cost by the quantity to give me the cost. Then in that way, I use SOMX because it's now changing from column to rows. Okay, but also you can use this function which is called calculate, and you will use this a lot. Calculate, you use it a lot for in writing your DAX functions. So in this case now I have that. So here I have total sales. No, let's use the total discounted. Total discounted. That's my expression, total discounted amount. Okay. And I want to run it over every row, and then it will, and no, every row, which is every day, it will sum it by day, and then it will. So all the sales that was done in one day will be summed together, and then we'll do for every day, and then we can have the running total every day. Okay, so I have that, and I'm going to use another expression. You can see here it says expression, which is what I've just put in, and then filter. I now want to filter by another table. Okay, so comma, come down, and then I type in filter. And my filter, you can see here, it says, what is that? Returns a table that has been filtered. The way Power BI works is that it looks at your data set as one block, right? So like you see when I apply the sum, it looks at it, that column, and it sums everything from the beginning to the end. Even if it's 100 years data that is there, it will sum everything together. Okay, now, I have the dates in there. So I now want to now say, okay, I don't want just the total for the whole of the records. I want to now apply some filters. Like now I want to apply the year, for example. So we'll now look at it and say, okay, filter. And it's now asking me, how do I want to filter it? So the first thing is open it up, and then I use another filter, which is because what I have done, sorry, I want to show you here. What I have done here has already applied filter on this on all of the data, but then I want to say release any the next keyword, which is the key all, is release any filter that has been applied to this date table. Okay, and then give me the whole list. So in this case, now I'm going to say all, and then I'm passing my date table. So I'm passing in my date table. Close that, comma, sorry, comma. And then what do I want to? And then I'm now passing my dates. Date is now less than, for it to do it for every day until the maximum date. So it's going to do the calculation, it's going to do the iteration for every day. So max date and dates again. I'm passing that in. Then say close that, close that, close that. That's it. So you have done a cumulative sales for me now. So if I say, if I say, excuse me, I changed that to this gentleman, which is now an area map. And I pass in my date, which is now where that is. Passing my date table is not going to give me everything. No, I want it here as date. No date. Come on. Come on. Because hierarchy. Yeah, come on. Come on. I want it. I don't want it as data hierarchy. I want it as the field. Okay, let me first finish this. And then I have my cumulative cells. That's my x-axis. Okay, so it's giving me at the year level, but I want it, let's do it at the month level. Month and year. Oh, let's do it at the quarter year level. No. Change that. It's not letting me do that. Come on. PowerBI.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
I think the date hierarchy has already been given. If you
No,
want
I
to,
don't want to use the hierarchy. That's why.
oh, okay.
I want to remove the hierarchy. It's not allowing me to, but you can see it's blanked out. I don't want the hierarchy. I want
Yeah,
the
but
date.
you see where you have X inside the box. If you
Okay,
tick
it's coming
untick
back.
the
Yes,
X,
yes. Oh, no, I don't want that. Okay, that's at the quarter level. I want it at the date. Oh no. If once I select the date, it takes it to. Okay, let's do it. Date. Giving me at the year level. Let's just leave it. And what I can do is I can look at cumulative. This is looking at cumulative year and month and everything. And I can create another cumulative, which is last year cumulative as well, which is just the same thing. And then we can now do a comparison. I can call this one cumulative. So last year. LY. LY is last year. So, and then I can do calculate again. Calculate, and Do I have which? Okay, I don't have my sales last year. Before I do that, let me cancel this. It's almost 4 o'clock. And then do sales amount last year, which is going to be same period last year. Then I'm passing my dates. Okay, I've created that, and then I can now use that same one in my cumulative calculation. This one I'm not going to use all. I will use another keyword, which is all selected. And this all selected says returns all the rows in a table or all the values in a column, ignoring any filter that might have been applied inside the query. So there might be a filter that's been applied inside the query. Is going to ignore that, and it's just going to return back to me everything within that table. And then now that is when it's now going to apply the its own filter dates, which is now it's asking for my table or column name with that. And then I'm going to say date less than or equal to max of dates. Okay, close. Okay, and here I can now bring the cumulative last year into here, but you won't see that. Okay, you can see the difference. So 2018 and 20, you can see the change. So the business can use that, and then let's look at that. When you filter, you see the difference. There's some things which I should have been able to show you, but because of time, because this one, if I don't want them to respond to my external stimulus, then I can actually make that so, but I don't have the time right now. It's 4 o'clock, and I want to answer your questions if there be any questions. Okay. Any questions?
Sorry.
Unfortunately, the model, when you are doing yours, can you please go your product in your products table, right? This unit price in your product table, can you make it numeric and not string, please? In that way, you'll be able to create the the cost per transactions. Okay. All right. Yeah. Your questions.
Yeah, it's actually not a question. I think during the last lecture, you were saying today's lecture is gonna be the last one with you.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we after this lecture, we're gonna get this video and the rest of it. Say we have
Yeah, the
any
video is always
question.
posted. The video is always posted on have you subscribed to the YouTube channel?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've been when the video is posted. Say we're going through all these things and then we have questions. Can we still reach out
Yeah,
to
post
you
the
on
questions. Yeah, post the question in the chat. It's not that I'm gone.
Oh,
It's just that there's another module that is coming in.
okay.
I will
All right.
respond.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, quick one here. If I want to remove the blanks, I can also remove the blank. We could see here I have blank, which if I don't want it, I may remove that. Yeah, any questions while I'm doing this? No questions?
No, sir. I think we just need to go and do more practice, then we'll be able to figure out questions.
Okay. Post your questions and the group chat, then I will have a look at it. Okay. And if there is time, if I have too many questions, I may ask permission from Jide to give us a few minutes for me to just jump in and address whatever the question is on the general level. Okay.
Sorry, God. Hello?
Hello, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this process is automated, right? So if you have another
It's not
data,
automated. Excuse me, don't mix
okay,
it. This is not an automated process. You have developed it. The
okay,
automation will only come at the refresh level, which we did not get to. Okay?
oh, okay,
We did not get to the refresh level. What happens
oh,
is that, yeah, because that's still if I was going to do all this, then Jide would not be able to have time, right? So what it is that once you have created your report like this, you publish it, and the way to publish it is like when it's ready, you see here the publish button. I click on the publish button. It's asking me to save it because I've not given it a name. So let me give it a name. I save as, and I'll select where I want to put where I want to save it. Let me select there, and then I'll give it a name. Not wind sales analysis. Okay, and I click on save. So it's going to change the name here to that. Why? It can access. Okay, it's my old path. It's my old path. Let me change the path. Oh. It can't access my data. It can't. Yeah. It can access my, so I can't save it. It can access my OneDrive. You can see it cannot access my OneDrive. I don't know why.
Can't it be saved in on your local disk?
Yeah, it can. It's not that allow me. If I don't want to save it just here. Okay, let's do this for now. I'll take it out. Okay, we saved it now. Okay, so it saved it now. So if I want to publish, I just click on publish, and then it's asking me where to publish. Right now, publish it to my space, and then I click on it, then it publishes to that space. Once it's published to that space, right, there's another thing. Let me bring this forward. Once it's published to this space, there's another thing which I need to do, which I didn't go through with you. It's called the gateway, and that is the connection string between your database, which is your SQL server, and the Microsoft Power BI Service Cloud. Okay, it creates that connection string. But let me see if I can bring that tool here for you to see. It's called Power BI Gateway. Okay, that is it. I've downloaded it, installed it. Yes, I'll say yes to this. Once it come up, I'll bring it for you to see. So you need this software again to install. Okay, you see, I've not actually updated in a long time because I've not been using it. So you need this on-premise data gateway, and I'll sign into it. You see, this also require your signing in the same login details which you've used to sign in into your Power BI desktop. You used to sign into your Power BI service is what you're going to use to sign in here as well. Once you sign in, the gateway is working, is running. Then once you publish to here, you can now come back in here and say, okay, let's go to my space. And this is it's the semantic level, this one. And you can see here is saying refresh history. I can click on that. It's not going to work. I know I've not used it in a long time. So refresh and manage permission, not using manage, no, not security. Let's go to settings. Okay, in my settings, you can see here, it's asking for this is my gateway. You can see it's telling me one is not configured, one is not, okay, they're both not configured. I need to activate my gateway. So once my gateway is activated and my gateway is running, right, and then I can come here and then I can select to how I want my report to be refreshed. Okay, you select your time zone, you select if it's daily, if it is weekly, the time you want it to run every day and everything. Because this gateway connects to your database, which is your SQL Server, and then connects to the Power BI desktop here as well. You can see that it's specified that the gateway. Okay. So that is how you automate the refresh. Okay. Any questions?
Can we use the Excel data that you sent to us?
Yeah, you can use for what? You can use the Excel. You can even ingest the Excel instead of you creating the the tables and everything in SQL. You can use Excel directly. You see the bits which I showed you how to remove columns, split column, and all the stuff like that. You can use it to create your model in the Power Query editor. But the only thing is just that when you need to refresh your data, the data must be from the same Excel file. So you must be adding more data and more data to that same one Excel file that you have connected to. Okay? You must use the same, and it must be the same name as well. And another thing is that Excel file, when it's time for refresh, the engine must have a concurrent use of it, meaning that there must be nobody that will have it open. It is only the engine that will have access to it as at the time when it is going to do your refresh. If somebody else have it open, then it's going to fail because why? It will come back with an error to say do not have concurrent access to the file. Okay.
Okay, that means SQL is better.
Yeah, SQL is better because there is a limitation in the volume of data Excel can take. 1 billion rows and that's it. But with SQL, you can go to trillions, petabyte right now. Okay.
Sorry, sir. In every task you want to do within the SQL, must you create the relationship? Sorry, in Power BI, must you create the relationship, or do you go straight to analyze the data without creating the relationship?
If you don't create relationship, how do you want your fact table to know that there is a relationship with that your product table? Right? Your
Yes.
fact table will not know that there is a fact and there is a dimension table. Yes, there is a dimension table there for it to use.
Okay.
right? Yeah, the date table, we will not know that there's a date table, and you can see which I didn't get into. No, which I did. Like I won't be able to have this year like I have here now, because you know the year is not in the fact table. It's the date that is in the fact table. So meaning for you to get the year, you have to write another DAX query that will extract the year from the date. And then also you can extract the month from the date as well. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay. In the absence of no questions, thank you very, very much. It's been a wonderful time.
Thank you. Thank you so
Right.
much. Really appreciate what
We
you've done.
are going to share the video. And like I said earlier, please post your questions in the group chat. I will respond back to you. And if there is any need for me to come back to go through one or two things with you, I will ask permission from the next mentor, and I will come in and do that. Okay. And also, I will be sharing, like I said, I got it from the internet, it's not my work. So I'll be sharing that with you. I guess it's going to be of great help to you, deepening your SQL knowledge and also your Power BI as well. The things which I did not have time to cover in Power BI. Normally, I'll go deep into the DAX and what it takes, and even these canvas and everything. I explain the working of the, at least to an extent, the working of the engine and all the stuff like that to you. But unfortunately, I'm not able to do that this time around. Okay, but all the same, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening and weekend.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank
You're welcome.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.